Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This is the top 10 $2 bills that should be in your collection. This list was brought to me by JRW3. JRW3 suggested it to me. This is his YouTube page, and make sure to check him out. He's one hell of an artist, and he does collect as well. So thank you, JRW3, for suggesting this list. I got you up here as well, and let's get on with the list. Number 10 on the $2 list is the current $2 bill. This particular one is from 1976. It's the same as the current ones from 2013, and I don't know if they've got 2017 out or not, but it hasn't changed. It's the same description, same note. This particular $2 bill, even if you try spending it, you're going to get funny looks from people, which is why people like spending them. They like the attention. If you take a look at the back, you can see it has the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That's why this was reissued in 1976. We went a little while without having a $2 bill, and actually prior to 1976, all $2 bills were legal tenders or silver certificates. This was the first $2 Federal Reserve bill that we've had in quite some time. You know that by the green seal on there. So yeah, 1976 $2 bill, definitely number 10 on my list. Number 9. Here's a red seal $2 bill. This is what they were before we switched over in 1976. This particular one is a 1963 red seal. 1963 red seal note. The big change on the bill was going from Monticello on the back to the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So that is the 1963. If I recall, they also did a 53 and a 35, which are all pretty much the same as this. I don't think there was any kind of change other than just the signatures. So this is number 9 on the list. Number 8, another red seal, but this one is a little older. You can see right there, that is from 1928. Now the 1928 red seals, you'll notice that the red seal is on the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side. That is a significant difference in the bill. So having a 1928 or having a red seal in your collection isn't good enough. You have to have both. Got one on the left, one on the right. The back of this one is the familiar Monticello, and that would be the 1928 $2 bill. Number 1098, number 7, getting a little bigger. 1917 $2 legal tender note. $2 legal tender 1917 bill. It does suffer, of course, from the torn corner. I've had this one out a couple times. You know it's a legal tender. It says legal tender right there, legal tender for $2. And it's got the red seal. Serial numbers are in red as well. And let's take a look at the back. You've got an interesting scalloping design across the back. So it's a neat note to have. Doesn't seem to look like American currency to me if you, at a glance. I know it's got the it's got the capital there, but all of the decorations just have a more of a European feel to me for some reason. Anyway, this is a 1917 $2 bill, number 7 on the list. Number 6. Getting older. This one I don't actually have in my collection. This is an 1886 $2 silver certificate. $2 silver certificate from 1886. You can tell that because it has the blue serial number. They used a red seal, but they still got the blue in for the serial number itself. Now, this particular note is one that I don't have yet. It is on my list of things to get. I do have other notes that are a little more of a high priority for me. I do like the way the back is on this. You get this swirl pattern. It looks like 2. And I think that's kind of a neat pattern on there like that. 1886 $2 silver certificate. 109876. Number 5. Number 5 is the 1899 $2 silver certificate. I've shown this one before. Once again, it's got that blue numeral over there on the side. I'm a big fan of the blue numerals. I wish this one was in better condition. It did make one of my other lists when I was trying to fit bills in under $250. So this one was a little higher on that list because of condition. You had to get one that was in a rough condition to make that price frame. But if all things were equal, this note would definitely rank higher. That's why it's as high as it is in this particular list. The 1899 $2 silver certificate, the mini porthole with George Washington there. Take a look at the back. That is what is number 5 on my list. 109876, number 5. Number 4. This would be the first $2 bill issued by the U.S. government. This particular $2 bill came out in 1862. 1862 was the first year that the federal government actually printed money. Before this, it was banks printing all of their own stuff, and it was very difficult to know if money was counterfeit or not because there were so many different banks. With every bank endorsing their own stuff, it would be easy for anyone to print their own money and just say it was from Bonata Town Bank. So the Federal Reserve stepped in, and we now have these notes here. This is 1862. You can see right there. This one is also a facsimile. I do not have one of these yet. Also on my list to get. Very cool on the back there. Now, these are considered legal tender notes. The legal tender note, not a silver certificate. It's got the red seal, of course. So that is number 4 on the list. Number 3. This note is a little on the pricey side, and it's definitely a wish list note. I would list it higher, but it's just a note that's tougher to get, so I figured I'd settle in here. It is on my list. I do not have one yet. This one is called the Lazy Deuce. You can see why it's called the Lazy Deuce right there, with it being tilted on its side. Now, this is actually from the first charter of national currency. The first charter national currency, the Federal Reserve wanted to make sure money was getting out everywhere, so what they would do is they would go to banks and they would make sure that the banks themselves were solvent. The banks were allowed to put on deposit a certain amount of money and or coin, and then they could have notes printed with their bank on there. Once they got the charter number from the government, they would be considered a national bank. Just like nowadays when you see the First National Bank of whatever, well, that's where that came from. National banks. You wanted to be the first national bank issued in a given city. This particular one is, of course, just a facsimile as well, because these get up there in price really quick. The Lazy Deuce, this one is, I want to say 1862, if I remember right. Maybe a little bit, no, 1882, if I remember. This is the first charter, though, so they made 3 different charters. The second charter would be the Brownbacks. The third charter is a little more popular. Those are a lot easier to get, but this was the only charter that had the famous Lazy Deuce. So that's number 3 on my list, the Lazy Deuce National Bank Note. Number 2, this one made my lists. This one is one of the more recent appearances. This is my 1918 Federal Reserve Bank $2 bill. This was guaranteed by the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. Each Federal Reserve Bank in 1918 was responsible for backing the currencies that they put out. The $2 Federal Reserve Bank note of 1918 is famous for one thing, and that one thing would be the battleship. It is the battleship note, one of the coolest notes out there, one of the most affordable of the cool notes. It's still only 3 digits, anywhere from 300 to 600, depending on condition. It can get up a lot higher than that, but still, having a World War I battleship on the back of the note is what makes this one so collectible, and I put this at number 2 on my top 10 list. So, number 1 on my list is also one of the few notes that I've had graded. This particular one is the 1896 silver certificate. 1896 $2 silver certificate. You can see right here the blue letters let you know it's a silver certificate. You can see two silver dollars right here. Very, very cool note. This certifies that there has been $2 deposited in the Treasury of the United States. Very interesting note, very cool note. I did this note, like many of my notes, already has its own particular video. You can check that one out if you like. This here is just so impressive. The educational series came out in 1896, and it was a way for the government to help educate the population by putting these notes in their pocket. The first one was dedicated to history. This particular note was dedicated to science. The $5 bill was dedicated to electricity. And then it had to get yanked 3 years later. But you can check out the other videos to find out the whole story there. This is just featuring the fact that it's a $2 note and one of the coolest. Hardly looks like real currency, but yes, this is what we had in our pockets. So that concludes my top 10 list of $2 bills. If you agree with my order, go ahead and hit the like button. If you have an idea of a list you'd like to see, make sure to put that down in the comments. If I choose your list, your name and will be up here, and I will show your page as well. Thanks again to JRW3 for suggesting a list of $2 bills. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.